Sometimes the deepest secrets hide right before your eyes. And because we see them all the time, we don't even notice. We breathe in, then we release our breath in speech, and we have conversations. It all looks so simple, but could there actually be a hidden mystery inside the air itself? How do air molecules carry your voice thousands of miles away? Is it even normal that my voice is reaching you right now? Can a single air molecule really handle hundreds of tasks at once without mixing them up? At the same time, it's being a pathway for countless voices. Conversations, signals, phone calls, video calls, images, smells, heat, and so much more. Get ready to realize how Allah is in control of this universe at every single moment. By the end of this video, you'll have discovered one of the most mind-blowing wonders of creation. Through the air molecules that surrounds you, but you never see. Today, we are going to push the limits a little. Let's begin by imagining yourself in a huge room, and everyone you have ever known is there with you. Now, they all start talking at the same time. Of course, you wouldn't understand anything, maybe just a few words. But in that room, there's something that can distinguish all those voices your brain could never distinguish: the air. All those voices are carried by the very same air molecules at the same time, yet not a single word mixes with another. And even though so many voices overlap at once, their roots do not change. The delivery of one does not delay the others. Each one is separated and each one reaches exactly where it's supposed to go. The way sound travels might be a little different from what you think. When we speak, the air coming out of our mouths mixes into the air. But it doesn't shoot straight like an arrow. Instead, the air molecules pass it along to the next one, like people handing a brick from one person to another. No matter how many quintillions of air particles there are, every single one is on duty. Each one takes it in the right way and passes it in the right way. Imagine playing the telephone game from one ear to the next with that many people. Impossible. Immediately it would all get mixed up. Yet these molecules do not only carry sound. When you call your mom from another city, those signals pass through the very same air. When you video call a friend, your image travels through those very same air that carries your sound. Wi-Fi, radio signals, Bluetooth, gigabytes of files, all passing through the same air that carries your sound, without the slightest chaos in this microscopic intersection. Even heat and smell, are they included too? Absolutely. And with all of this going on, this very air still serves as the air we breathe. It carries pollen to help plants reproduce, but how can it possibly manage them all? As we said, these are all tasks. So air cannot do them on its own. It can only happen because of a power it relies on. For example, can an ordinary person walk into a district and make 300 people go to the police station? Of course not. But if that person is a high-ranking government official, then it becomes easy. Not because of his personal ability, but because of the authority of the government behind him. In the same way, without a divine power running these tasks moment by moment in the background, none of this could ever happen. The mysterious world of atoms still has so many messages to give us, and we shouldn't miss them. So now let's turn our eyes down to what's beneath our feet, to the soil. Imagine we take a patch of soil and plant hundreds of seeds in it, one after another. And each time we plant a new seed, we see miracles growing from that same soil. Roses, lemons, apples, oranges, etc. We can think of each seed as a piece of code, a software, a program. Is there really such knowledge hidden in that tiny bit of soil? It's as if it has hundreds of different recipes and apply them all perfectly. Did it ever receive such training? The same goes for water and sunlight. Out of countless possibilities, they produce every plant perfectly and accurately every single time. Not once has a tomato ever grown on the stem of a rose. Not once are the elements needed for a tulip mistakenly pulled into a tomato. So if we claim the soil is the real cause, we have to accept that it hides invisible computers, laboratories, machines for every plant, almost like a different factory for each plant. But in reality, the soil has neither the knowledge to handle this nor the awareness to distinguish all these possibilities. It doesn't have the power. And in fact, at the most basic level, it doesn't even have life. There is a basic rule in physics. If there is a result, there must be a cause strong enough to produce it. Imagine a machine. You put in a piece of wood, and in the end, a beautiful wooden decoration comes out. This is logical, this makes sense. But if you put in a piece of wood and what comes out is a tomato, then something is clearly illogical. The same logic applies to the fruit coming out of the soil. What goes in? Something tasteless like soil, even bitter. No smell, no color, no awareness, no life, no ability to recognize differences. We look at the seed and it's the same. We cannot find what we are looking for in water or sunlight either. But what comes out in the end? A colorful, sweet-smelling, delicious masterpiece. And this final product simply cannot have been made from that raw material that went in. This is the creation of something from its near opposite. If we say this all happens on its own without a creator, then we must accept the following. This is just like the famous pharmacy example of Bediüzzaman. Imagine a pharmacy with shelves full of jars, and each jar contains a different chemical substance. Now, we need to produce a medicine for cancer, but the window is left open and a wind blows in. The wind knocks some of the jars off the shelves, and somehow, in just the right milligram amounts, the exact substances that are needed come together. And the product that comes out is exactly the medicine we were looking for. What he means by this analogy is this. For every seed planted in the soil to grow, there are necessary elements, and each one has to be used in a precise amount. Not too much, not too little. But we know very well that these atoms have no awareness, no will. Moreover, they have no life. So where did that life come from? Can you really give something to someone else that you don't have yourself? It's very clear. The atoms are only apparent causes. The one who directs them, the one with the power is someone else. Or let's think with a different example. Something a bit funny. Imagine a baby with a rope in his mouth. And that rope is tied to an airplane. As the baby crawls forward, the plane also moves with him. If you saw this, would you say, "Wow, look at that baby. He is pulling the airplane with his mouth"? No one would even consider that possible. Right away, our mind would look for another cause in the background. We would say, obviously there is a pilot. He is the one moving it. Reason and logic point us to the divine power behind the scenes. We need this principle to navigate reality. Otherwise, we can be deceived by any illusion. Isn't it amazing? Wherever the atoms go, whatever task they are given, they carry it out in the most perfect way. During a child's growth, those atoms go to the outer layer of his tooth, and they form the enamel, one of the toughest materials in nature. In the brain, the very same atoms build a massive network. They carry signals running through billions of neurons in an instant. And they carry thoughts, dreams, memories, mathematics, and even love. From just a pile of atoms, we see the power to manage one of the most complex and deep processes in the universe. Now think of those atoms in the bacteria of your digestive system. From food that looks like simple waste, they set up an incredible system that produces vitamins, supports your immune system, and protects you. It's as if there is a hidden pharmacy in a trash can. Who could ever imagine such a system? When they work inside the heart, without missing a beat, without ever stopping, they pump liters of blood every minute. They carry out all the functions of the heart flawlessly. In the lungs, they perform the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide perfectly. In your eyes, they fulfill the task of seeing. In a plant, they perform photosynthesis. But at the end of the day, when we look back at the atom, the situation is still the same. Lifeless, without knowledge, without awareness, without will, without the power to do any of these things. How can this happen? There are two options. First, either we admit that these things are from Allah, and the atoms succeed in these tasks only because they are directed by His command, His will, His knowledge, and His power. Or we accept each atom as a god of its own. That would mean they know every system perfectly and follow their rules wherever they go. Out of countless possibilities, they always choose the most ideal one. While in the soil, they bring out masterpieces from the simplest substances. While in the form of air molecules, they never confuse one task with another, never cause delay, and take part in countless other miracles. This is exactly the problem that Islam solves with the statement La ilaha illallah. First comes La ilaha, which means there is no God. It rejects attributing divinity to these beings and removes the idea of countless gods. It reminds us of their powerless and helpless nature. You can never attribute divinity to any atom. Then comes Illallah. There is no God except Allah. In short, the one who denies God has to accept countless gods. But even if it were accepted that way, it would still be impossible for atoms to run the system properly. Because without a single authority in control, there would be no order. So whoever owns the atom must also be the owner of every place it is sent. Only then can it move in harmony with countless other atoms within that system. If we saw army units marching in perfect formation, what would we say? There must be a commander giving the orders. That's why they move in order. But what if there wasn't one commander at the head of the soldiers? Then each soldier would have to be both the commander and the commanded. Would there be order in that case? I don't think so. Instead of helping each other, they would block each other's way. This is why all atoms being under the control of a single power do not disrupt one another's order, but actually support each other. And for reasons like this, Islam especially emphasizes Tawhid, the oneness of Allah. With this pure and clear idea of monotheism, it stands apart from all other religions. Throughout history, some people tried to ignore this truth. They thought, as science advances and we go deeper, there will no longer be any need for God. Everything will be explained as the work of matter. But as they went deeper, things didn't turn out the way they expected. Instead, they came across even more incredible secrets. We began to see that His existence is necessary, undeniable. There is not even the space of a single atom left to hide in for denial. Every one of them, every second, tells us about Him, testifying to His existence and His oneness. Even every breath you take reminds you of Him with the sound Hu. So now, why don't you try it yourself? Take a deep breath and say, La ilaha illa hu. There is no God except Him.